Hello everyone, it is I, Mark S.W. Once a year on my channel I tend to do a toy review, but this year hasn't been easy because there aren't that many new toys and I've hardly left my house. But there is something I can review some old toys. As you all know, I'm a big Gerry Anderson fan, and one of his TV shows is called Terrahawks, and that's set in 2020, so this year, right now. For those of you who've never heard of Terrahawks, then I'll explain. Mars has been invaded by a race of androids from the planet Guk, led by their queen, Zelda. Not to be confused with Zelda the Great from Batman, Zelda Spellman from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or that character from Legend of Zelda. Her family want to invade and conquer the Earth. The only thing that's standing in their way is a secret military organization called Terrahawks. Their leader is a man called Dr. Tiger Neinstein, who is one of 9 clones. So if he dies, then one of his 8 clones will assume command of the Terrahawks. Although the series was broadcasted on the 3rd of October 1983, a lot of Terrahawk fans prefer to celebrate its anniversary on the 10th of October. The reason is because in the organization, the Terrahawks use these number 10 codes to say certain phrases. So for example, Mayday 1090, battle stations 1040. So for affirmative, they say 1010. So that's why Terrahawk fans celebrate Terrahawks Day on the 10th of October, the 10th day, the 10th month, you see? And because Terrahawks is set in 2020, I wanted to do a Terrahawks themed video, so I thought I'd do a review on some of the toys I have in my collection. I know it's not a lot, but they are very difficult to find. These are from the 80s. They were made by Bandai. So the first vehicle we'll take a look at is the Battlehawk. This is the flagship of the Terrahawks. It's the action die-cast and plastic toy. As you can see from my hands, it's very small. We're actually looking at 2 vehicles. You see, the cockpit section of the Battlehawk detaches. This is the Terrahawk. Now, hopefully you can see it if I've got it in focus. It's all plastic, and when I got it, there wasn't actually a window. I had to paint it on because, well, how are they going to see where they're going? Now, I know it's supposed to detach, but it's very loose. There's no way of securing the Terrahawk to Battlehawk. You just have to turn it upside down and that's it. Now, as for the Battlehawk itself, at the back, it's supposed to have a cargo door there. I think they should have given it some articulation. You know, you should be allowed to open it so it would lower down like that. So I know it's only small, but still, it would have been good. Could put a very tiny vehicle in there. Another thing about this toy, the landing tracks, because the idea is when Battlehawk lands, it can travel along the land. But I think they should be detachable because you don't see them when the Battlehawk is in flight. But apart from these little issues, I do like the Battlehawk. There is a large version of Battlehawk you can get. Now, I would really love to get my hands on that. The only problem is it's very difficult to find and it is very expensive. But I have got something from it. One of the features that Battlehawk does, it carries a vehicle called the battle tank. There you go. This actually came from the large Battlehawk toy. This was just loose. I got it from a Anderson convention. As you can see, it runs on wheels, even though it has caterpillar tracks. It's all metal and plastic. And one of its main features is it has this hook which lifts. Because the idea is when Battlehawk drops the battle tank, it would just drop like that. But to pick it up, some grappling hooks would come from the bottom of Battlehawk, just scoop up the battle tank and lift it up and lower it in. But of course that's possible with the big Battlehawk, so that's on my collector's list, you could say. Now, the rest of the Terrahawk vehicles I've got, this came with a 3-pack gift set. So we'll look at Hawkwing first. That's the fighter jet. Now with Hawkwing, it does have some articulation. Starting these wings in the gun section, they can turn 180 degrees. And there are little wings on the side of the main body. So a bit stiff to get out, but there we go. But of course the main feature with Hawkwing is that the gun section can detach, the gun wing they call it. Just slide it out like this. So it becomes two separate aircraft, gun wing and Hawkwing. The one issue with Hawkwing though, just move the gun wing aside, it's the wheels. They sort of spoil it, I suppose that's the correct phrase. Because the idea is when Hawkwing lands, it would use legs, not wheels. There'll be one leg there, and it wouldn't need the two wheels here because it would use these fins. And because of the wheels, it does have a balance problem. See what I mean? The next vehicle to look at from the gift set, Terrahawk. This is the Terrahawk space rocket. It's called Terrahawk because it launches from a fake tree. Its features, the side panels lift. The idea is they contain auxiliary motors. So when Terrahawk flies in space, it uses the big rocket engine here. For flying in Earth's atmosphere, it has the jet engines underneath. You can just about see them. The panels can stay in position, but sometimes they can be a little loose. Just one little touch and they can drop. But there is another feature on Terrahawk which doesn't make any sense. Press this black button and the front nose cone sort of pops out. It doesn't detach, it just pops out. Which is weird because that never happens in the TV series. And it's a little bit fiddly to push back on. Needs several goes sometimes. And again, like Hawkwing, wheels. I know, I'm a bit of a critic, but it's what I do. It shouldn't have wheels, it should have legs when it's landing. And finally we have Spacehawk, the Terrahawk space station and star cruiser, because although we see it in Earth orbit, it does leave the orbit to go to other planets in the solar system. Now this is my favourite vehicle. Now although it does have wheels, I can make an exception with this because the way it's positioned, you can hardly see them. More to the point, you wouldn't actually need the wheels because Spacehawk can land on like the moon or Mars, but it lands on one of the panels, like this. So you wouldn't actually need the wheels, unless the ground was space. I do confess, when I first saw Spacehawk, I always thought that this was the front and this was the back, but it's the other way around. This is the front and that's the back. Like Terrahawk, there's a feature that doesn't make any sense. There's an orange button here on Spacehawk. When I press that, the front section just flies away for some unknown reason. And we never see that in the TV series. I have to confess, toy makers back in the 80s, they were very unusual. I suppose that's the polite way of putting it. So those are the only Terrahawk toys I've got. I did mention there's a larger version of Battlehawk, which I really want to get one day, but there are other larger versions of the vehicles, so there's also Terrahawk, Hawkwing and Terrahawk. I think there might have been plans to do a larger Spacehawk, but I don't think it ever got made. And here's an interesting fact. If you take a look at an old Bandai leaflet that promoted the toys, it looks like there would have been plans to do Zelda's fleet as toys, but that never happened, which is unusual because the only Terrahawks toys that Bandai made were all the hero vehicles. They didn't do any of the ships in Zelda's fleet, not even her fighters, the Zeefs. So in 2009, I made models of Zelda's fleet. So here is my model of Zelda's fleet, all 7 ships. Well, technically there are 8 ships because this section, this is called the hub. The top of it would detach and that would be Zelda's mothership. but I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I decided to give it a miss and just focus on the others. So as I mentioned, this is the hub. It's made out of polystyrene. You can just see where the dent is. I've been thinking of remaking this, and these sticking out bits are made of wood. As for these 6 ships, all cardboard, wood, and a little bit of plastic. The idea of Zelda's fleet is they all attach to each other, because when she lands on Mars, all the ships join up like this, and it makes one giant complex. There we go. And each of these silver ships has a different name. We know that this one is called the Rhino, and that one is called the Finn, but we're not sure about the others. But I think that that's the Dog, the Shark, the Icebox, and the Phantom. But that's my opinion. I don't know which is the correct order. So that's my Terrahawks collection. There are action figures. There's all 5 members of Terrahawks: Dr. Neinstein, Captain Mary Falconer, Captain Kate Kestrel, Lieutenant Hawkeye, and Lieutenant Hero. And 2 of the Zeroids. They're the robotic soldiers for the Terrahawks: Sergeant Major Zero, my favourite, and Space Sergeant 101. And there's also an action figure of Zelda. But like the vehicles, not much bad guy material from Bandai for Terrahawks. They didn't even do her family. No It Star, Sis Star, or Young Star. I suppose it could be because there wasn't much demand for Terrahawk toys, which is why they only did the hero vehicles and characters and not much stuff for the bad guys. As well as the large Battlehawk, other things I would like to get, I like to get the Zeroids. I like to get Zero and 101. Plus, if I can get more of them, then I could customize some of them so they look like different Zeroids, because the Zeroids all have different personalities and characteristics. So I could make one Zeroid look like the French Zeroid, 18 or 18, or another to look like the female Zeroid, 35, Rhyming Zeroid, 55, and Scuttering Zeroid, 21. So the possibilities are endless. You can have a whole army of Zeroids. Of all Gerry Anderson shows, some people underestimate Terrahawks, but I like it. It's one of my favourites. I'd say it's on the same level as the CGI remake of Thunderbirds. It's worth watching. It has some great model effects, great storylines, and also, as well as the TV series, do have a listen to the Big Finish audio versions of Terrahawks. Not only that, but it had some great music. I mean, music in the 80s was just brilliant. And Kate Kestrel's songs, they're fantastic as well. Do have a listen to them. Talking of Kate Kestrel and her singing career, there's one thing I've been thinking. There's a YouTube series called Super Pops. These singers who are superheroes wear different coloured clothes and wigs. I wonder if they got the idea from Kate Kestrel. Anyway, while I'm thinking about that, thank you guys for watching this Terrahawks Day video. If you've enjoyed it, do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget, if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. And do check out my other toy review videos. I do try and do one at least once a year. Thanks again for watching, guys. Do check out Terrahawks, and I'll see you next time. 1010 and over and out.